What's going on, everybody? Good to have you guys back for Stargirl Season 2, Episode 5. I'm expecting to see names of the episodes like you do in conventional TV series, but in this one, we don't have that. We've got like just Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4. It's really weird. So that's not on us, that's just the show writers for how they want to script this season. But still no sign of Jenny or Green Lantern, still no sign of Todd. Sylvester Pemberton now has been missing since the first episode, so 4 weeks and still no Starman. And now questions are being asked whether Ted Grant Wildcat is still alive, because now we know Dr. Mid-Nite has made it through and he's in the Shadowlands. We actually don't know whether Ted Grant's 9 lives are in effect in this universe. So I think a lot of the fan base are now starting to ask those questions about the original Wildcat. Well, regardless of where he is anyway, he's not wearing a suit because Yolanda has that. He definitely isn't Wildcat anymore. That is really only down to Yolanda. So guys, dark clouds start to gather over Blue Valley, literally, as all signs point towards that Eclipso may be more powerful than we first think. And Cindy, she goes for her next recruit in Cameron. Now things aren't working out as planned, or as she planned, because Lily, which is the grandmother, is going out of her way to protect Cameron. Or does maybe she have another agenda? I'm not sure. Maybe she does, or I think it's just out of family love. When you think about it, what she was doing with Jordan was just more than parenting. The direction that the team's going in, the ISA, and was it for the right reason? So I'm not sure whether there's more to Lily, the grandmother, than what we first see. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But the shock is that Jordan's mother and Cameron's grandmother, Lily, has cryokinesis. That was, for me, that was a shocker. But to be honest with you, it's not really that surprising because it had to come from somewhere, right? Speaking of Cameron, we move on to this on and off romance with Courtney continuing to play out like Peter Parker and Mary Jane, or Barry Allen when he first met Iris West. 1 minute, Courtney and Cameron are talking and their hearts are sparkling, glazing into each other's eyes. And the next, Courtney's bailing on him. All signs point towards him becoming an anti-hero, as I talked about in my season 1 reviews. He's got a good heart, guys. Now he's found the girl that he wants to be with. He's probably thinking to himself, what is it that's actually wrong with me? Because, I'm hot, she's hot. It's one of those things that he must be starting to ask himself questions now. The only heartbreaking thing is if he finds out that the girl he likes is complicit in his father's death and is still covering it up. I think that's going to break him. I loved when Cameron shuts Cindy down and her new ISA team. He saw straight through her phony sympathy and called her out on it when she said that she didn't care about her own stepmother's death. Now, Cindy might play a trump card into luring him into the team by telling him about his father's killer. That's the only way I see things turning darker for Cameron and him joining the ISA. That will derail a future romance and prospect with Cameron and Courtney. But the truth is already out there with Isaac and Artemis. Their parents are supervillains, the altered egos are out there, and for this reason, they know the truth, and it turned them to the dark side. So the only thing that can stop Cameron from turning into a supervillain is learning about the reasons why his father died, why Jordan died. Now, learning the truth about Icicle's evil plans for Blue Valley and the circumstances surrounding his death might say otherwise. You put my father down, you killed him, but I understand what my dad was trying to do. He was trying to take over America and control everybody's brains. So moving on, guys, the Shade continued to be vague about his reasons. Now, unknown powers, we still don't know about Alex Montez. Now, Alex Montez is Yolanda's younger brother, and in the comics, he was able to summon all the powers of Eclipso by triggering a diamond with his anger, while remaining in total control of himself, keeping Eclipso trapped within him. So I don't think we're going to see this in this episode. To be honest with you, we haven't even seen Alex Montez in season 2. So I think that while that's something that they can have in their back pocket, they're definitely not going to involve that in this season 2. Now, Cindy, guys, is failing with this ISA grouping. It's dying right before our eyes because she's failed to recruit Cameron, and now Pat has given Mike more to do. The chances of Mike Dugan turning evil are slim unless Eclipso positions his mind to control Mike. So Eclipso managed to completely undo Yolanda, Rick, and Beth by whispering in their ears about their worst nightmares and showing their greatest fears. Now, this reminded me of Wanda in Age of Ultron when the Scarlet Witch pounced on the Avengers team and with just a whisper of her voice and a twinkle of her hands was able to control and dismantle the whole team. So that's kind of what it reminded me of when we saw this scene. But now everybody's asking the question, why didn't it affect Courtney? Why was Courtney the only person that wasn't affected? Well, there's a reason why the cosmic staff chose her. She's pure of heart, doesn't have any regrets in her life. Her only real issue is not being the daughter of a superhero. But she's embraced Pat in more ways than one. And I think it sees that it can't really control her or manipulate her because, as I said, she's pure of heart. So we kind of move on to the freak of the week in Paul Dizinger. Paul Dizinger is DC's paintball. He was committed to a mental institution, as we know. But if Eclipso ever manages to break free of the Black Diamond, which he's in the process of doing, I'm sure paintball will be his first target again if he needs a body. Paintball is one of Jeff Johns' creations. Started him out in 1999 and 2000's run of Stargirl, and he can project splashes of paint from his body. Life drain, vampirism, the color green, which means their energy leaving their bodies and even their clothing, they turned white. And also, if it's magenta, these splashes are normally used as a force to push opponents back. Electricity, that's the color orange, and it's used to shock his pose. He used telekinesis to redirection, the trajectory of moving objects, and that's normally a yellow color. And then we sort of see a sticky mass of liquid sort of ensnare people, and that uses a different mix of variety of colors. In the comics, he also mentioned that Dragon King enhanced his talents, just like he did with Cindy, his daughter. Pat was right about Eclipso getting stronger, as this time Eclipso was able to leave its host and manifest in somewhat of a solid form. So who knows how much longer the demonic entity can be contained in the Black Diamond. I think the endgame is very near. But when that happens, as I said before, the JSA and Shade will need to team up. But what can our heroes do? Beth's goggles are still on the fritz. Rick can't punch his way out of Eclipso's powers, and Yolanda's a pacifist, and she doesn't want to hurt anybody anymore. So for me, I think the big secret sort of ace in the hole is going to be Cindy. Cindy's becoming a force to be reckoned with. And once she realizes Eclipso has double-crossed her, her mind is going to be dead set on revenge. And that pain that is blocking her common sense right now is going to go to the wayside. Because, guys, she's terrified of ending up like her father. And she's got her revenge motive surpasses any sense of word right now. So that's why she can't see clearly. But once everything clears up, I'm sure that she'll start to think about what's going on and realize that she's being used. Now, Beth's parents, guys, continue to disappoint me on what on earth is going on there. They have no time for her. They don't cook for her. They don't spend any time or anything. They don't go out with her. Yet they claim to be getting a divorce, and that doesn't mean that they won't love their daughter. Now, I mean, guys, look, they can't love their daughter any less than what they're doing now. So I think that ain't going to work for me. I think that if they get back together and spend more time as a family, then maybe it might be something that would be happy for all three parties. Because at the moment, they are like the worst parents ever. But yeah, this show should be called Bad Parents. Seriously, when you look at the Dragon King, when you look at Icicle, when you look at what's going on with Best Parents, the show should just be renamed Bad Parents. So for me, guys, another good episode for me, 7.5 out of 10. Will Eclipso escape from the Black Diamond? What will it take for Cindy to change? Not just change to the good side, but change her mind totally on Eclipso and realize she's being used. And for me overall, guys, just want to have a little word about the show itself. We've seen a little sort of, less action, less special effects. And I think we have to understand that the pace and the scale seems slightly a bit down. And this could be because they've shot this in COVID times. Remember, season 1 was shot before COVID, and season 2 was shot in COVID time. So maybe that's a reason for this restrictions on the show, but I'm still enjoying it, guys. And season 1 had a kind of similar format, but there was just more conflict. That's the only real difference here. So let me know what you guys think about this episode, and I'll speak to you guys in the next one.